When discussing Orthodox Christians or Orthodox Christianity, a subject will inevitably arise sooner rather than later on the distinction between what is known as Eastern Orthodoxy and Oriental Orthodoxy. The word Orthodox applies to both from their own self-defined terminology, and upon watching any video or reading any article referring to Orthodoxy, it is likely that both Eastern Orthodox and Oriental Orthodox will be found claiming the word or the title for themselves. So what is the difference between these two groups? Are they both Orthodox, or is only one? Do they teach the same theology? Stay tuned for more. Welcome to Jim Apologetics. This is, of course, your host, Jim. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any inquiries or topics you'd like me to cover in the future, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see if I can get around to it. And now, back to the program. The word Orthodox is used in Christianity to denote correct belief. As such, even Roman Catholicism will apply the word Orthodox with a small or lowercase o when referring to correct Catholic belief. So how do we know which of these two aforementioned groups, the Eastern and the Orientals, are truly Orthodox? We'll begin by showing the geographical and liturgical differences. This map displays a comparison between Eastern Orthodoxy, labeled dark bluish-purple, and Orientals labeled as red. The Eastern Orthodox are the majority in much of Eastern Europe, comprising a mix of Southern and Eastern Slavs and Romanians, Greeks, Greek Cypriots, Georgians, and other ethnicities found in the Caucasus and Russia, with a minority Eastern Orthodox groups in the Arab Levant, Turkey, Central Asia, and, more recently, East Africa. The Oriental Orthodox are the majority in Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Armenia, with significant minorities as the largest Christian group in Egypt and one of the largest in Syria, Turkey, and India. There are roughly 260 to 270 million Eastern Orthodox Christians in the world, and roughly 80 million Orientals. So what is the difference other than geography and culture? Of course, theology and history. The Orientals departed from what was considered the Great Church in the year 451 AD, denying the Council of Chalcedon and its claims that Christ has two natures, one divine and one man. Denouncing this theology for fear of it being a triumph of the late Nestorian Christology, the Copts, followed by other local churches, left the Roman Church. The Orientals proclaimed Miaphysitism, that Christ only has one incarnate nature, a composite of both divine and man, perfectly united and not separated nor mixed. The decades after this fateful decision brought only more darkness upon Christendom itself, as the Byzantine Empire, the presider and defender of Orthodox Christianity, meant to erase this Miaphysite faultiness by force, as the Western churches had dealt with Arianism before and would again. Beginning in Syria and Egypt, the Byzantine Orthodox Christians waged holy war against the Orientals, both sides coming to deadly blows throughout the century after this schism. The Eastern Orthodox, colloquially and derogatorily referred to as Melkites by the Orientals, were also the subject of Oriental persecution against them. As such, the violence was not one-sided. The hatred from both became so severe that by the time a new heresy formed in the Middle East, this time storming out of Arabia, the Orientals chose a complete newcomer as their ally, against their old co-religionists, the Byzantines. When the Arabians came to Syria and Egypt, they found allies in the Semitic and Coptic-speaking Oriental Christians who had claimed such persecution from the Byzantines that they saw these Arab cousins as a temporary relief. The Nestorians likewise, cut off from the Roman Church, saw no need to resist the Islamic invasion, which threw the Romans further away from their land and annihilated pagan Persian Empire with a final execution. The Byzantines would retain Asia Minor, Cyprus, Greece, and their holdings in the Balkans, as well as a strong influence amongst the, quote, Melkites that remained as strong minorities in the Levant. Egypt, however, was almost entirely lost, the Copts becoming well over 90% of the Christian presence in that land, and the Byzantine influence diminished. Even after the dramatic invasion from Arabia, the Oriental and Eastern Orthodox maintained an inner suspicion and anger at one another, which would not be supplanted in memory until the events of 1054 with the Latins, and more notably, the nail in the coffin in 1204. It has been nearly 1600 years since the Orthodox-Oriental schism, and it does not appear to be near being resolved anytime soon. Other than a brief period in the 1990s, the ecumenism between Eastern and Oriental is only political, and it is clear that the Oriental belief in Miaphysitism is not merely a linguistic misunderstanding, but one that the modern Orientals consciously, purposely choose to believe in, making them the only non-Diophysite Christians in the world. We, the Eastern Orthodox, maintain that we are the only Orthodox, the only with correct belief. The Orientals are called either Oriental, or Miaphysite, or heterodox, or even potentially Monophysite. We do not consider them to be fellow Orthodox in any way, other than the fact that our aesthetics, prayer style, and way of life is more similar to one another than apart, compared at least to the constant innovations of the Western churches throughout history. This word Orthodox gets taken out of context too often. It has nothing to do with being Eastern. In fact, the Orthodox are historically closer to Roman Catholicism, as both the Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholics remained together until 1054, the latest 1204, and both claim to be the true Roman Church. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. My intention was to present the information as neatly and simply as possible. Thank you all for watching, and God bless.